Good day to you. We're glad you're with us today for Devotionables, brief devotions for busy people. My name is Gabriel Heinerman. So glad that you'll be with us. Today we're going to be looking at Exodus 34, verse 6. One of the most crucial, important, weighty verses in the entire Bible. In this verse, the Lord Himself will reveal who He is, His character, His nature to Moses. He discloses these things to Moses. You think about disclosures. What is a disclosure? Well, if you're selling a house, it's a legally binding sort of contract, part of the contract process in which the seller discloses to the potential buyer the good, the bad, and the ugly of their home, right? If there are any potential flaws or faults, that's in the disclosures. The good, the upgrades, they're in the disclosure, right? We replaced the water heater. The roof has this situation going on. You think about a resume you put together for a potential employer. I'm disclosing information about myself as I'm telling you where I went to school. This is what I studied. This is where I've worked and what I've done in the past. This are my accomplishments. These are my references. I'm disclosing them to a potential employer. We do this even on social media in our profiles, right? I'm a dad. I work here. I went to school here. I grew up here, right? We disclose information about ourselves quite frequently. And here the Lord discloses this vital and crucial information. Really, it's His heart. He's sharing this information with Moses. Moses has just asked him, as he's gone back up on the mountain, after Israel's sin of making the golden calf, after Moses had received the Ten Commandments, now he's going back up on the mountain. And he's been interceding, he's been pleading to God on behalf of Israel. Don't destroy these people, right? And he's like, I'm not going to go with these people if you don't go with us. And he asks this request of God. He says, show me your glory. Show me your glory. What would you think God might say? Will He refuse? Hey, nobody can see me and live. I'm not going to show you my glory. I don't want to kill you. Or you're not worthy of seeing my glory. Or maybe you might think, well, I've seen these marvelous, magnificent, powerful acts that He did amongst the Egyptians. That's His glory. Maybe you're waiting for the shock and awe to come down like this fireworks, like the fire and the smoke on the mountain, and you're waiting for God to disclose Himself in that way. But what God says is, okay, I'll show you my glory. And when I pass by, I'm going to declare my goodness to you. The glory of God in His goodness. The glory of God in His goodness. It's not how, as I'm reading the story, that I wouldn't have seen it gone that way. This is interesting. And so He's going to disclose His goodness, His glory to Moses. And He's going to pass by Moses and declare and to proclaim His glory, His goodness. And this is what it says in Exodus 34, verse 6. The Lord passed before him and proclaimed, the Lord, the Lord. This is the covenant name of God, of Yahweh. He is the covenant God. Remember, He's called them into relationship. He calls you into covenant with Him. He's the one who makes the covenant. He keeps the covenant. He is the covenant-keeping God from all time. The Lord, a God merciful and gracious, slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love and faithfulness. Again, steadfast love, covenant kind of language used here by God. Keeping steadfast love for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, but who will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children and the children's children to the third and fourth generation. The glory of God, proclaimed in the goodness of God. This is who He is. He is glorious. He is good. And notice what He says about Himself. That He is the covenant-keeping God, the covenant-making God, who is slow to anger. He is merciful. He is faithful. He's abounding in hesed, steadfast love. And He discloses Himself to Moses. He has revealed Himself to us in all the Word. All the Bible is revelation to us about God. In a sense, they're unpacking for us, either in the actions of God or in the teachings about God, this verse, that He is the Lord, slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love. And John would say that the Word became flesh and He dwelt. He tabernacled among us, and we have beheld His glory, the only one from the Father, full of grace and truth. And Jesus would disclose his own heart in Matthew when he said, I am gentle and lowly. The Lord, slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love and faithfulness, merciful and gracious. He will by no means just sweep under the rug sin, but he will deal justly, and his justice is perfect. But he is the covenant-keeping, covenant-making God. He reveals himself to us in the Bible and in the person of Jesus Christ. As Jesus would tell his disciples in John, if you have seen me, you have seen the Father. And there's this moment after Jesus had just fed the 5,000. You remember, he's fed the 5,000. And he sends the disciples on ahead of him. They got in a boat and they're going across the sea. And they're having trouble making it. And Jesus is going to walk, and he intended to pass by them. He intended to pass by them, to show them his glory, to show him his goodness, to pass by. When God passes by you, are you looking for his glory? Are you looking for his goodness? He's here. It's here in the Word. He has revealed himself to you. And all his power, all his goodness, all his glory is in his Word. And we see Jesus through the Word. Peter said we have a more sure word. And then when you see it, do you proclaim it? When you proclaim the glory of God, do you do so by proclaiming his goodness to others? Some things for us to consider today. Blessings upon you and all the trueness and authenticity of that word. God's blessings be upon you today.